10 best villages in Switzerland's countryside. Switzerland's countryside is filled with villages that look like they have been pulled straight from a storybook. Based on recent travel recommendations and cultural rankings, here are 10 of the best small villages to visit, organized by their unique regional charm.
Number 10. Gruyères, the Fortress of the Golden Crane. Gruyères is a hilltop fortress that looks exactly like the castle on a storybook cover. Named after the mythical crane, Gru, that appears on its coat of arms, the village was the seat of the Counts of Gruyères for over 500 years. Legend says the first count followed a crane to this hilltop and decided to build his kingdom where the bird landed. But Gruyères has a dark and surreal side. Next to the 13th century castle sits the H.R. Giger Museum, dedicated to the artist who designed the creatures for the movie Alien. Across the street, the Giger Bar is designed like a skeletal ribcage, offering a bizarre contrast to the medieval cobblestones outside. It's a village where the Middle Ages and futuristic nightmares live side by side. Of course, no story of Gruyères is complete without its cheese. The village is the birthplace of the world-famous Gruyère AOP, and the air often smells of melting fondue. Whether you're exploring the castle's French gardens or sipping a drink in a room made of bones, Gruyères is a sensory explosion, a place where history, myth, and the avant-garde collide on a single beautiful hill.
Number 9. Morcote, the Pearl of Lake Lugano. Morcote is where Switzerland takes on an Italian soul. Voted the most beautiful village in Switzerland in 2016, it's a cascade of pastel-colored houses reflected in the deep blue waters of Lake Lugano. Its history is tied to the Scherer family, particularly Hermann Scherer, a textile merchant who spent his life creating a garden of wonders filled with replicas of monuments from around the world. To reach the heart of the village, you must climb 400 stone steps to the church of Santa Maria del Sasso. From the top, the view of the lake and the surrounding mountains is breathtaking. The church itself is filled with 16th century frescoes that tell the stories of the village's seafaring and merchant past, a reminder that Morcote was once a vital link between the north and south of Europe. Morcote is a village of elegance and arcades. You can walk along the lakeside under stone arches that house tiny cafes and boutiques, feeling the warm Breva wind on your face. It is a place that proves Switzerland isn't just about snow and cows, it's also about the dolce vita, where the mountain air is scented with jasmine and the sunsets turn the lake into liquid gold. Number 8. Grimentz, the guardians of the glacier wine. Grimentz is the red village of Switzerland. Its sun-blackened timber houses, some dating back to the 15th century, are famously decorated with thousands of bright red geraniums. But the village's most fascinating secret is hidden in its cellars, the Vin du Glacier, or glacier wine. This unique wine is stored in larch wood barrels that are never fully emptied. Every year, new wine is added to the old, creating a blend that can be over a century old. The village was historically inhabited by nomads who moved between the valley and the high pastures with the seasons. They built their houses close together for warmth and protection against the harsh Valais winters. Today, these ancient buildings house the burgher's cellar, where only the village elders and special guests are allowed to taste the legendary wine from a barrel dedicated to the Bishop of Sion. Walking through Grimentz is like walking through a living museum of Swiss craftsmanship. The grain stores are perched on flat stones to keep mice away, and the smell of wood smoke and dried hay fills the air. It's a village that fiercely protects its heritage, ensuring that the stories of the mountain nomads and their eternal wine are never forgotten. Number 7. Soglio, the gateway to paradise. High above the Burgil Valley, Soglio is a sun-drenched terrace of stone houses and narrow alleys. The famous painter Giovanni Segantini once called it the threshold of paradise, and it's easy to see why. The village is surrounded by chestnut forests and looks directly across at the jagged granite spires of the Bondasca group, which look like the teeth of a giant. Soglio's history is dominated by the Salis family, a powerful noble house that built the Palazzo Salis in the 17th century. The palace, now a hotel, still houses original furniture and portraits, allowing guests to sleep in the same rooms as the lords of the valley. It's a village where the Mediterranean air meets the high Alps, creating a microclimate where palm trees grow alongside mountain pines. The true beauty of Soglio is its light. Artists have flocked here for centuries to capture the way the sun sets behind the granite peaks, bathing the gray stone houses in a warm, golden glow. Life moves at a meditative pace here. It's a place for reflection, for walking through ancient chestnut groves, and for understanding why some places on Earth simply feel more sacred than others.
Number 6. Saint Ursanne, the legend of the saint and the bear. Deep in the Jura region, tucked into a bend of the Doubs River, lies Saint Ursanne, a town that feels like it's trapped in the year 1200. According to legend, a 7th century Irish monk named Ursacinus sought solitude in a cave here. One day, a bear killed his ox, which he needed for his work. Rather than being angry, the saint tamed the bear and made it wear the ox's harness to plow the fields. This spirit of quiet medieval mystery permeates the town today. You enter through one of 3 massive stone gates, crossing a 400-year-old bridge guarded by a statue of Saint John of Nepomuk. The town's centerpiece is its Romanesque abbey, where the cloister's silence is so profound it feels as though the monks might walk around the corner at any moment. Every 2 years, the village throws off its quietude for the Medievals, one of Europe's most authentic medieval festivals. Blacksmiths, troubadours, and knights fill the streets, and for a weekend, the modern world completely disappears. Saint Ursanne is for the traveler who wants to get lost in time, where the river flows slowly and the legends are etched into every cobblestone.
Number 5. Gimmelwald, the village that refused to grow on purpose. Years ago, developers wanted to turn this tiny cluster of wooden chalets into a massive resort with hotels and shopping malls. The locals, mostly mountain farmers, realized that if they didn't act, their way of life would vanish. In a brilliant move, they had the entire village declared an avalanche zone, making it legally impossible for big developers to build. This rebellion saved one of Switzerland's most authentic treasures. There are no grocery stores here. Instead, you'll find honesty shops, small cupboards in front of farmhouses where you take a wedge of alpine cheese or a jar of honey and leave your money in a wooden box. It is a place of absolute trust, where the only traffic jams involve herds of goats moving from one pasture to another. The true story of Gimmelwald is one of quiet survival. It's a place where you can hear the silence of the Alps, broken only by the distant thunder of avalanches on the mountains across the valley. It's a reminder that sometimes the greatest progress is choosing not to change at all, allowing visitors to step back into a version of Switzerland that has existed for centuries. Number 4. Mürren, the village that saved James Bond. Perched on a cliff edge 1,600 meters above the valley floor, Mürren is a village that feels like it's floating in the clouds. In the late 1960s, it faced a crisis. A massive revolving restaurant on the nearby Schildhorn Summit sat unfinished due to a lack of funds. Enter the producers of the James Bond film On Her Majesty's Secret Service. They offered to finish the construction if they could use it as the villain Blofeld's lair, Piz Gloria. The filming turned the quiet village upside down. Helicopters ferried thousands of bags of artificial snow when Mother Nature failed to provide, and the locals suddenly found themselves serving martinis to movie stars. The restaurant's revolving floor, the first of its kind, was literally built by Bond. Today, Mürren remains car-free, accessible only by a nail-biting cable car ride that mimics the dramatic escapes seen on the silver screen. But Mürren's true soul is found in its Inferno tradition. Every year, it hosts the world's largest amateur ski race, where 1,800 skiers plunge down the mountain in a chaotic high-speed dash that reflects the village's daring spirit. Whether it's 007 or a local skier, Mürren is a place for those who aren't afraid of the edge, offering a 360-degree view of the Eiger, Monk, and Jungfrau that hasn't changed since the first chalet was built.
Number 3. Grindelwald, under the shadow of the Eiger. Grindelwald sits at the feet of the Eiger, a mountain whose name translates to the ogre. For over a century, its north face, the Nordwand, was known as the Death Wall. The village below watched through telescopes as climbers fought for survival on the 1,800-meter vertical sheet of ice and rock. In 1936, the world watched in horror as Tony Kurz hung suspended by a rope just feet from rescue, only to utter his final words, "I can do no more." But Grindelwald isn't just a place of shadows, it's a place of engineering miracles. While climbers battled the rock, workers were tunneling through the mountains to build the Jungfraubahn, the highest railway in Europe. They used dynamite and sheer willpower to create a window in the middle of the Eiger's north face, a literal hole in the wall, where passengers today can peer out at the very cliffs that challenged history's greatest mountaineers. The village today is a vibrant mix of alpine tradition and modern adventure. Farmers still lead their cattle to high pastures to the sound of heavy bells, while just above them, travelers walk the first cliff walk, a narrow bridge clinging to the mountainside. It's a village that has learned to live in harmony with its giant, respecting the power of the Eiger while inviting the world to witness its staggering rugged beauty.
Number 2. Zermatt, the tragedy that created a legend. In 1865, Zermatt was a sleepy hamlet of sun-blackened barns and devout farmers who believed the Matterhorn was a cursed pyramid inhabited by demons. That summer, a fierce race began between an English artist named Edward Whymper and an Italian team to see who could conquer the unclimbable peak first. Whymper's team triumphed, reaching the summit on July 14th, only to find the Italians just 200 meters below on the other side. The triumph turned into one of history's most haunting tragedies. During the descent, a rope snapped, sending 4 climbers plummeting to their deaths down the north face. The broken rope, now displayed in the Zermatt Museum, became a symbol of the golden age of alpinism. Queen Victoria was so appalled she considered banning her subjects from mountaineering, a move that ironically backfired, making Zermatt the most famous destination in the world. Today, the village remains car-free, preserving the silence that once allowed Whymper to hear the echoes of his fallen friends. Residents tell the story of Theo, a 16th-century mercenary found frozen in the glacier, a reminder that the mountain always keeps a piece of those who challenge it. Zermatt is a testament to human resilience, where every morning the sun hits the Matterhorn's tip first, turning the Demon's Peak into a beacon of gold.
Number 1. Lauterbrunnen, the Valley of Wings and Water. Deep in the Bernese Oberland, the earth splits into a colossal U-shaped valley where 72 waterfalls tumble from sheer limestone cliffs. The most famous, the Staubach Falls, was so mesmerizing it inspired the poet Goethe to write Song of the Spirits over the waters. But for centuries, locals viewed these cliffs with a mix of reverence and fear, seeing the mist as the breath of spirits haunting the high peaks. In recent decades, a new spirit has taken to the valley. Lauterbrunnen has become the global mecca for base jumpers, modern-day Icaruses who leap from the 400-meter nose cliff. While tourists gaze up at the waterfalls, these thrill-seekers gaze down, living out a dream as old as time. It's a place where the serenity of nature meets the ultimate human adrenaline rush, earning the valley the dual nicknames of the real Fairytale Valley and the Valley of Death. The true heart of the village lies in the balance between these two worlds. In the local pubs, you'll find weather-beaten farmers sharing tables with wingsuit flyers from across the globe. They speak of the white noise of the waterfalls that lulls the village to sleep and the collective breath hold every time a colorful parachute blossoms against the gray stone. Lauterbrunnen isn't just a postcard, it's a living stage for the most daring human ambitions. As our journey through these 10 villages comes to an end, it's clear that Switzerland is far more than just a collection of stunning landscapes. It is a living tapestry where the past isn't tucked away in a museum, but breathed into every morning mist. From the car-free silence of Mürren to the medieval echoes of Saint-Ouen, these places remind us that progress doesn't always mean moving faster. Sometimes it means having the wisdom to stay exactly as you are. We've walked the paths of legendary climbers, tasted wine from barrels older than our grandparents, and seen how a single honesty shop in Gimmelwald can restore your faith in humanity. These villages aren't just stops on a map, they are sanctuaries. They offer a rare kind of peace that can only be found when you step off the train and onto a cobblestone street that has felt the tread of 1,000 years. In the shadow of the Eiger or on the shores of Lake Lugano, time simply behaves differently. So, the next time you find yourself dreaming of an escape, look beyond the bright lights of the cities. Head into the heart of the countryside, where the cowbells provide the soundtrack and the mountains provide the soul. Switzerland's small villages are waiting to tell you their stories. All you have to do is listen. Which of these 10 would you visit first? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more journeys into the world's most beautiful corners. Until next time, keep exploring.